throughout my journey in sobriety and understanding as to why my family was or is the way that they are, through their actions and, through addiction and substance abuse. There was a lot of reading and conversations with elders in my community and elders throughout Nunavut on their experiences and what they've gone through. And for many years, I would ask the question, like, why are my parents like this? And for probably the first 14 years of my life, I just accepted that that was just the way of life, and that my parents were selfish in their own ways and not sacrificing their actions towards their kids. And it wasn't until, to be honest, the Kamloops finding came out a few years back. And when I started listening to survivor stories and experiences, it was an aha moment for me, because there was a lot of connections through seeing what my parents' actions were growing up through addictions and substance abuse. And I started watching more and more documentaries on residential school survivors and experiences, and I didn't know that stuff. And being Inuk myself, or Indigenous for that matter, in our communities, you think you know everything. But when there's no conversations going on in your home, and when you bring up past experiences, a lot of times I was shut down and was told, we don't talk about that stuff. But I just kept pushing. I kept finding different avenues to try and get my parents to talk about their experiences without any judgment, in a safe place. And a lot of times, my father Barney, who was born and raised out on the land, I mentioned earlier about safe places for us Indigenous people, and when we're out on the land, that's where I'm able to connect with my dad and talk about his experiences. And I think ultimately, yes, there's a lot of history that we don't know. And a lot of times we tell ourselves it's better that we don't know and move on. No, we need to know what our grandparents, what our ancestors have gone through, to come to the realization today as to why maybe some of you live in a dysfunctional home. Maybe some of you have parents who have addiction issues, and you're asking yourself questions like, why is my home like this? Well, when you start educating yourself and reading on our past experiences, I look at my dad now today. When I was 19 years old, I beat up my dad because I was angry at him. I resented him for his actions. And I thought I was this proud young man who beat up his dad. I didn't know his story back then, up until 3 or 4 years ago. And when I look at my dad today, I feel sorry for that man. There's a lot of anger and blame in there. Now it's about finding those communication lines and being there, sometimes in silence, and letting him know that, hey, I love you no matter what. I understand now why you are the way you are today. And we just need to come to a sense of belonging with each other. So start reading about our past. Start educating yourself about your family history. Go up to your grandparents and be straight up. Ask them those questions. How are we going to move forward as a community if we don't know? We need to change that mindset of being silent. We need to find that inner confidence amongst each other as community members to be proud, not shameful because of your experiences or what happened to you. Because I can guarantee you, your neighbors, the community, your neighboring community members are dealing with the same things.